Sometimes evil doesn't come with a knife or a gun. It comes wrapped in love, wearing a smile that hides a storm. This is the story of a man who thought he had everything: a loving wife, loyal friends, and a peaceful life, until one day that very life turned into a nightmare he could never wake up from. But the real question is, was it destiny, madness, or a carefully planned betrayal that destroyed everything? Rohit Sharma was an ordinary man with extraordinary dreams. He worked hard, respected everyone, and lived for his family. His wife, Meena, was known for her charm. She had the kind of beauty that drew attention wherever she went. At first glance, their marriage looked perfect. Neighbors often said they're made for each other. But behind those closed doors, things weren't as beautiful as they seemed. In the beginning, Rohit trusted Meena blindly. He believed love meant never questioning, never doubting. But slowly, small things began to bother him. Late-night phone calls, sudden mood swings, and unexplained absences. When he asked, she'd laugh it off, saying, "You're overthinking again, Rohit." And he'd believe her, because that's what love does. It blinds you to the truth standing right in front of your eyes. Among Rohit's close friends was a man named Arjun. Handsome, confident, and always ready with a joke. He was like a brother to Rohit, someone he trusted completely. Whenever Rohit and Meena had problems, Arjun was the first one to offer advice, pretending to care about their marriage. What Rohit didn't know was that the very person he called a brother had already crossed lines that no friend ever should. It began subtly. Stolen glances, secret messages, and whispered conversations. Meena found in Arjun what she thought was excitement, something missing from her predictable marriage. Arjun, on the other hand, enjoyed the thrill of the forbidden. What started as harmless flirting soon turned into something darker. Their affair grew quietly, hidden beneath the surface, while Rohit remained blissfully unaware. As weeks passed, Meena grew distant. She no longer smiled when Rohit came home. Their conversations turned cold. The warmth that once filled their house was now replaced by tension so thick that even silence felt painful. Rohit tried everything. Surprise dinners, gifts, apologies for mistakes he didn't even make. But nothing worked. Every time he looked into her eyes, it felt like he was staring into someone he no longer knew. Meanwhile, Arjun played his part perfectly. To Rohit's face, he was still the same loyal friend, joking, drinking tea together, and discussing business ideas. Behind his back, he was living a double life, one filled with passion, deceit, and danger. And Meena, she had started to believe that she deserved more than what Rohit could give. In her mind, Arjun was her new beginning. Then came the night that changed everything. It was raining heavily. Rohit had been working late and decided to surprise Meena with her favorite dessert. As he entered the house quietly, he noticed the lights were dim. For a moment, he thought she had gone to sleep early. But as he walked toward the bedroom, he heard voices, laughter, whispers, and the unmistakable sound of betrayal. His hands trembled. Each step felt heavier than the last. When he opened the door, his world shattered. There they were, Meena and Arjun, caught in the act, without shame or fear. For a few seconds, no one spoke. The only sound was the rain pounding against the windows. Rohit's face turned pale. Arjun tried to speak. "Rohit, it's not what it looks like." But the damage was already done. Some wounds cut deeper than any knife ever could. That night, something inside Rohit broke forever. He didn't scream, didn't fight. He just stood there, frozen, his tears mixed with the rainwater dripping from his clothes. Mina didn't apologize. She simply looked away, as if she'd already erased him from her life. Arjun quietly slipped out of the room, leaving Rohit alone with the pieces of his broken heart. Days passed, but time didn't heal anything. Instead, it deepened the silence. Rohit stopped going to work, stopped eating, stopped living. Friends tried to comfort him, but their words were meaningless. The man who once smiled at life now avoided mirrors because he couldn't recognize the person staring back. The betrayal had not only taken his wife, it had stolen his soul. And just when everyone thought things couldn't get worse, rumors began to spread. Someone whispered that Mina had moved in with Arjun. Another said they were planning to marry soon. The neighborhood that once admired the couple now pitied Rohit. Each whisper felt like a dagger to his heart. The humiliation, the loneliness, the unbearable pain. It all built up like pressure inside a volcano waiting to erupt. One evening, Rohit sat alone in his dark apartment. He looked at the wedding photo hanging on the wall. 2 smiling faces from a life that no longer existed. The memories flashed before his eyes. The vows, the laughter, the promises of forever. And then he looked down at the letter in his hand. A final message written in trembling handwriting. The last words on the page were haunting. Maybe peace doesn't exist in this world. Maybe love was never meant for me. The next morning, the entire neighborhood gathered outside his house. The police arrived. Someone had found Rohit lifeless in his room, the letter beside him. But as the investigation began, a strange feeling filled the air. Something didn't add up. Was it really suicide? Or had someone made it look that way? Because sometimes death tells only half the story. And as detectives began to dig deeper, they found clues that pointed towards something far more sinister. Something that would change everything people thought they knew about that night. The morning after Rohit's death, the house that once echoed with laughter was now surrounded by police tape and whispers. Neighbors stood outside, murmuring half-truths and theories. Some said he took his own life out of heartbreak. Others believed there was more to the story, that maybe, just maybe, he didn't die by his own hand. Inside, Inspector Rajveer Mehta examined the scene carefully. The body lay on the floor, the note beside it. To an untrained eye, it looked like a simple case of suicide. But Rajveer had seen enough in his 20 years of service to know that things aren't always what they seem. There was something about this room. The untouched food on the table, the slightly displaced furniture, the missing phone, that whispered something isn't right here. He picked up the letter. Maybe peace doesn't exist in this world, it read, ending abruptly. No signature, no clear indication of despair, no mention of guilt or apology. Rajveer frowned. People who take their own life, he muttered. They usually leave clarity behind. This one feels staged. Meanwhile, Mina was nowhere to be found. The neighbors said she hadn't been home since the previous night. Some claimed they saw her leaving in a car with Arjun. Rajveer made a note of it. 2 names underlined in red ink, Meena Sharma and Arjun Khanna. He didn't know yet how deep this story ran, but his instincts told him this was not just a love story gone wrong. A post-mortem report later revealed something shocking. Rohit hadn't died of poison or hanging. It was suffocation. His neck showed faint bruising as if someone had pressed a pillow against his face. That single detail turned the entire case upside down. What everyone thought was a suicide was now a murder. The next day, Rajveer summoned Meena for questioning. She arrived wearing black sunglasses and an emotionless face. "I've already told everyone," she said calmly. "Rohit couldn't handle our separation. He was unstable." Rajveer watched her carefully. Not a single tear, not even a flicker of sadness. Her tone was rehearsed, almost like she'd been preparing for this conversation for days. "Tell me something." Rajveer leaned forward. "When was the last time you saw your husband alive?" Meena hesitated. "2 nights ago," we argued. "I left. Where did you go?" "To a friend's house." "Arjun Khanna's house?" Rajveer asked. For the first time, her confident mask cracked. Her lips trembled. I don't remember." Rajveer smirked. "You will." Eventually, as she left the station, one of the officers whispered, "Sir, Arjun Khanna's missing too." Rajveer nodded. "That's because he knows we're coming for him." 2 days later, Arjun was found hiding at a friend's farmhouse on the outskirts of the city. When the police barged in, he looked terrified. His usual arrogance was gone. Under interrogation, he claimed innocence. "I loved Meena, yes, but I never killed Rohit. She told me he was dead already," he shouted, sweat pouring down his face. Rajveer didn't respond. He simply placed a photograph on the table, a CCTV still from a nearby store. It showed Arjun's car parked outside Rohit's house on the night of the murder. "So what were you doing there at 11:45 p.m.? Rajveer asked coldly. Arjun's hands shook. "I went to talk to him." To end things peacefully, Rajveer leaned closer. "And how did it end?" Arjun's silence said more than words ever could. The deeper Rajveer dug, the darker the truth became. Call logs showed dozens of messages between Meena and Arjun in the days leading to Rohit's death. Coded words, hidden threats, and a clear pattern of manipulation. They weren't just lovers, they were planners. But something still didn't add up. If they planned the murder together, why would Arjun hide like a guilty man and Meena act as if she had nothing to lose? Then came a breakthrough. One of Rohit's colleagues came forward with new information. "Sir," he said, "Rohit had told me something strange a week before he died. He said he was getting anonymous messages, threats to stay away from his own wife." Rajveer's eyes widened. Anonymous messages? That meant there was a third person involved. Someone who didn't want Rohit, Meena, or Arjun to be together at all. The investigation took a sharp turn. Rajveer started tracing numbers linked to those messages. One led to a prepaid SIM card bought using fake documents. But the CCTV footage from the store shocked everyone. The person who purchased the SIM was a woman, and it wasn't Meena. Who was she? What connection did she have with Rohit? When the footage was enhanced, Rajveer's team froze. The woman looked familiar, a faint resemblance to Meena, but slightly older. After hours of research, they found her identity: Rita Sharma, Meena's cousin who had disappeared years ago after a family dispute. Rita had once been in love with Arjun too, but he left her for Meena. Revenge had been brewing ever since. And now, it seemed she had finally found the perfect way to destroy them all. Rajveer began to piece the puzzle together. So Rita sends threats to Rohit, manipulates him mentally. Meanwhile, Meena and Arjun plan to run away. Rohit finds out, confronts them. In the chaos, someone kills him. But who? Meena, Arjun, or Rita, the ghost from their past? Every clue pointed in a different direction. Every truth hid another lie. As the story unfolded, Rajveer realized this wasn't just a love triangle. It was a web of obsession, betrayal, and vengeance so twisted that even death couldn't untangle it. One evening, as Rajveer was reviewing files, he got a call from the forensic lab. "Sir, the pillow used in Rohit's suffocation, and we found fingerprints." "Whose?" Rajveer asked. The officer paused. "Two sets. One belongs to Arjun and the other to Meena." Rajveer's eyes hardened. "So they did it together," he murmured. But just as he started to close the file, another call came in, this time from a neighbor of Meena's. "Sir, she's packing her bags. She's leaving the city tonight." Rajveer's instincts screamed, "Run now." He rushed with his team toward the railway station. The loudspeakers echoed with departing train announcements. Passengers crowded the platform. Among them, Rajveer spotted Meena, calm, dressed elegantly like a woman untouched by guilt. He called out her name. She turned, smiled faintly, and said, "Inspector, I told you. Rohit couldn't live without me." He chose his fate. Rajveer took a step forward. "No, Meena." He didn't choose. "You did." Before he could say more, a scream erupted from behind. A body fell onto the tracks. It was Arjun. Blood everywhere. The crowd gasped. Rajveer froze. Meena's smile faded into shock. He followed me here," she stammered. But Rajveer wasn't convinced. He looked into her eyes, searching for the truth. "Did you push him, Meena?" he asked. Her lips curved into a haunting smirk. "Inspector, you'll never know." And as the train roared past, Meena disappeared into the crowd, leaving behind only questions, chaos, and a trail of death. The next morning, the city woke up to breaking news. Businessman Arjun Khanna dies after falling in front of a moving train. The headlines painted it as a tragic suicide, another chapter of a doomed love story. But Inspector Rajveer Mehta knew better. He had seen that look in Meena's eyes, not grief, not fear, but victory. Something told him that Arjun's death was no coincidence. Back at the station, Rajveer replayed the CCTV footage from the railway platform again and again. In one frame, just seconds before Arjun's fall, a shadow appeared behind him, a woman's silhouette, but it wasn't Meena. It was someone else. The figure wore a dupatta that partially covered her face. Rajveer leaned closer to the screen and froze. "That's her, Rita Sharma." Rita had resurfaced. He immediately sent a team to track her down. Meanwhile, Meena's phone records revealed multiple calls made to an unlisted number right before Arjun's death. The number belonged to a burner phone, registered under the name of Rita Sharma. Rajveer's suspicion turned into certainty. So Rita didn't just send threats, he said to himself. She played all of them, Meena, Arjun, and Rohit, against each other. 2 days later, the police traced Rita to an abandoned farmhouse outside the city. The same place where Arjun had once hidden. The house smelled of damp wood and secrets. Old photographs were scattered on the table. Pictures of Arjun and Rita from years ago before Meena entered his life. Their smiling faces told a story of love once pure, now twisted by jealousy. Rita was sitting near the window when Rajveer entered. Her eyes were calm, distant, almost peaceful. "You found me," she said softly. "But tell me, Inspector, do you really believe there's only one murderer in this story?" Rajveer didn't answer. "Tell me everything," he demanded. Rita's voice was hauntingly steady. "I loved Arjun before Meena stole him. She always got everything. Beauty, wealth, attention. I was just the shadow standing beside her." When she married Rohit, I thought maybe life had given me peace. But when she began her affair with Arjun, something inside me snapped. I wanted her to suffer, the way she made me suffer. I started sending those messages to Rohit, making him suspicious, making him crumble from the inside. I wanted their love to destroy itself. Rajveer's jaw tightened. So you admit you manipulated him? Rita smiled faintly. Manipulated? I gave him the truth. It's not my fault he couldn't handle it. But Rohit didn't kill himself, Rajveer said. He was suffocated. For the first time, Rita looked surprised. What? She whispered. Rajveer watched her reaction closely. Yes, Rita. He was murdered, and both Meena and Arjun's fingerprints were found on the pillow used to kill him. Rita laughed bitterly. Then maybe they deserve each other, even in death. But Rajveer wasn't done. And what about Arjun's death? You were there, Rita. The CCTV shows you standing behind him. Her smile disappeared. Silence filled the room. Finally, she whispered, I didn't push him. He saw me and panicked. He thought I'd come to expose them. He stepped back and slipped. I didn't mean for him to die. Rajveer could sense fragments of truth and lies tangled together. And Meena? Where is she now? He asked. Rita's eyes darkened. Meena, she said slowly. She called me that night. She said everything was falling apart. She was scared the police would find out the truth. She wanted my help to escape. Did you help her? Rajveer pressed. Rita looked out the window, her voice trembling. I told her to come here, but she never did. Just then, one of the officers entered the farmhouse. Sir, we found something outside, near the old well. Rajveer followed him. As they reached the edge of the property, the officer pointed to a half-buried suitcase. Inside were blood-stained clothes, a broken phone, and Meena's passport. Rajveer's eyes widened. So she never left. The forensic team began digging deeper around the area. Hours later, they found what everyone feared. Human remains wrapped in a sheet. The jewelry on the wrist confirmed it. It was Meena. Rita stood still as the truth unfolded in front of her eyes. Rajveer turned toward her. Did you kill her? He demanded. Tears welled up, but her face stayed eerily calm. No, she said quietly. I didn't kill her. She came here crying, saying she couldn't live with what she and Arjun did. She said Rohit's face haunted her every night. She wanted to end it all. I tried to stop her, but she ran toward the well and slipped. Rajveer studied her carefully. The story sounded convenient, too perfect. But there was something in her eyes, a mix of guilt and relief that made it hard to tell whether she was lying or finally telling the truth. Later, as forensic reports arrived, things got even stranger. The time of Meena's death didn't match Rita's story. There were bruises on Meena's neck, the same pattern found on Rohit's body. Rajveer exhaled deeply. So you killed her too? Rita closed her eyes. Maybe I did. Maybe she wanted me to. She begged me to end her suffering. I just gave her what she asked for. Her voice trembled for the first time. You call it murder, Inspector. I call it justice. The court later sentenced Rita Sharma to life imprisonment for double murder. But even after the verdict, nothing felt clear. The media called it the love triangle tragedy. But Rajveer knew it was more than that. It was a story of love turned poisonous, where every emotion, every choice, every betrayal pushed another soul closer to death. Months later, Rajveer visited Rita in prison. She sat behind the glass wall, her hair now streaked with gray, her eyes empty. He asked, "Do you ever regret what you did?" Rita smiled faintly. "Regret?" she whispered. No, Inspector. Regret is for people who think they could have chosen differently. I had no choice. They took everything from me, love, dignity, peace. I just gave them what they deserved. As Rajveer walked away, her final words echoed in his mind. I just gave them what they deserved. He looked up at the setting sun, wondering if justice had truly been served, or if evil had simply found another disguise, one that even the law couldn't unmask. Because sometimes monsters don't hide in the dark. Sometimes they live inside broken hearts that never learn to heal. Rohit, Meena, Arjun, and Rita. 4 lives bound by love, destroyed by obsession. But the real question remains. Was Rita a murderer? Or just another victim of a world where betrayal always wins?